Iron Man came out in 2018 and was based on the American superhero of the same name. It was the first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and was directed by Jon Favreau and was written by Mike Fergus and Hawk Ostby. The movie has been in development at various times since 1990 before Marvel Studio reacquitted to rights in 2006. It premiered in April 14, 2008, and grossed over $585 million, becoming the 8th highest grossing film of 2008. It was nominated for awards like Best Sound Editing and Best Visual Effect, and it spawned 2 sequels. The movie followed the daring escape of the world-famous industrialist and master engineer named Tony Stark, which led him to building a mechanized suit of armor, dubbing the name Iron Man. The idea of this fanfiction is to shift the portrayal of Iron Man from being a hero to be a villain. We all know Iron Man was not exactly a hero from the start and mostly became Iron Man for his own personal interest. But along the line, he had realized he could do better, so what if he had tipped on the other side and became evil? How would it have affected the timeline of the movie? So sit back and relax as we find out together. After a weapons demonstration, Stark was attacked and captured. While he was imprisoned by the Ten Rings, injured and dying, his life was saved by a fellow captive who had engineered a mini arc reactor and put it in his chest to save his life. Together with this same captive named Yinsen, while he worked for the Ten Rings, who had promised him freedom after he was done, knowing them, he knew that he was definitely going to die if he didn't do something about it. He made a prototype suit of powered armor to use to fight his captors. While he had been trying to power up the suit, Yinsen helped him by stalling for time, but in the process Yinsen had been killed. In his grief and anger, Stark decided that rather than escape, he was going to fight back. These men were deserved to be destroyed. And with his armor, he burnt down everything in the cave and decimated the Ten Rings, destroying their hideout and demolishing all of their infrastructure. He was able to get their leader, who had finally given up and relinquished power to him. The Ten Rings feared him and was under his control now. He was going to destroy anyone that decided to go against him. After he had fully conquered the Ten Rings and put them under his brutal rule, he had sent a message through Peggy Potts that he wanted the company to stop producing weapons, and from that day forward, he was not going to make weapons for any country, and wanted the weapons already sold to be recalled. He had seen the damage that his weapons did to the world, and what he wanted now was peace at all cost. He then asked her to make an arrangement to move his land down to Afghanistan, and that he wanted to settle there in the heart of the conflict and personally destroy whoever wanted to fight. As soon as his workshop arrived, he began to work towards making a sleeker and more powerful version of the suit. With it, he interfered in every conflict in the Middle East with the help of the Ten Rings and stopped them by force. He destroyed government troops and rebel forces alike. They were the bad guys, and they needed to stop the fighting and the wars. He also went further into destroying all the weapons cache belonging to these warring parties, leaving them with nothing to fight with. Stark was enjoying the power he held, and it started to get to his head. He soon declared the Ten Rings a nation, and conquered all the neighboring nations and ruled with an iron fist. On the road to his conquest, he had made a lot of enemies, and people who couldn't leave under his rule constantly attacked with bombings and kidnappings. Meanwhile, back in the United States, Obadiah Stane, who was his father's former partner, used this as an opportunity to kick him out of the company as CEO and convince the company that every tech credited to Tony Stark was company property, and promised to create a version of the suit Tony had been using. After trying and failing, he decided he was going to steal the one Tony made. He then hired mercenaries that hated the Ten Rings and Stark, and asked them to attack Yinsen's home village. Hearing about the attack, Tony could not stay away. Yinsen had saved his life. He owed him this much. He immediately flew to the village and defended it. Meanwhile, it had all been a trap and a diversion. They had attacked the village to get him out of his base in Afghanistan, and while he'd been fighting to protect the village, they attacked his base in even greater forces and destroyed it, burning it to the ground and stealing the prototype suit he had made. Even though he had destroyed the enemy in Yinsen's village, he had got back to his base burning, while attackers had escaped and was headed for the United States. He flew after them and caught up with them when they crossed the airspace of the United States. Seeing him as an enemy, the army sent F-22 Raptors to attack him, but in his anger, he fought back, trying to get the people who had just destroyed his home. They had fired a missile at him and shot him out of the sky. His armor had been badly damaged and him injured. Thinking he had died, they left him. After the encounter, Stark decided that the world was corrupt and horrible, and that it mostly was because of the people in charge of it. The only way he could help the world was to conquer it. He then decided to go entirely off-grid and spend the next few months not just perfecting his armor, but creating autonomous robot soldiers to replace the 10 rings he had lost. He invested into nanotechnology and used it to repair his damaged body and armor. Meanwhile, Stain had tried to work hard to reverse engineer Stark's suit. He had not only stolen Stark's prototype, but had stolen the first arc reactor he made and used it to power the new suit. He had been planning on using it to bid for a new military contract with the government, hoping to replace soldiers with war robots. Then suddenly Stark surfaced again. He had not intended for his suit to be a weapon, but after the experience he had with the fighter jets, he had improved on his technology and turned his suit into a weapon capable of decimating worlds. He soon sent a message to the whole world from his location and warned them to stop all the fighting. And if they didn't, he was going to stop it for them and destroy both warring sides. And as an example, he had attacked both North Korea and decimated it before he then moved to Libya and stopped the fighting there too. The United States Army had sent fighter jets to stop him, but he easily destroyed them. Seeing this as an opportunity to prove that he was better, Stain talked the military into allowing him to take on Stark himself. After the attack was approved, Stain used his suit and attacked Stark's new compound in Afghanistan. He had been totally unprepared for what he was going to meet. It was not like before. Stark had created autonomous robot soldiers, each almost as powerful as the suit he used himself. Stain's attack had been unexpected. Tony rolled out of the way quickly as Stain crashed through his ceiling, and he immediately activated his armor, which came flying onto his body, and he proceeded to engage Stain more aggressively than Stain had thought. He had spent months fighting in his armor, and he was better at using it than anyone on the planet. It didn't take much time before Stark had destroyed Stain's armor and proceeded to killing the begging Stain, beating him to a pulp with the arm of his armor he had ripped off. He knew the United States Army was involved in the attack and decided that since he had been attacked unprovoked, he was going to forcibly take over the United States. They had terrorized the world enough, and it was high time someone stopped them. With his new formed 10 rings that consisted of highly trained men and autonomous robots, he had attacked the White House and the Pentagon, crippling all the positions of power in the US, beginning from those two. He proceeded to the army bases, the military ports, the carriers in the ocean, and even the nuclear plant, shutting down the United States entirely. In a few weeks, he had fully conquered the United States and toppled the government, hunting down superheroes and government officials that refused to give up. He then instated himself as the Iron President and sent a message to the world that he was going to destroy any group of people who refused his peace. Many heroes had gone into hiding, and so did Nick Fury, who had been the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He decided to go across the country, gathering heroes that were willing and strong enough to fight against the oppression of the Iron President. He had called Captain Marvel, and when she arrived, he told her that he was assembling a team of heroes called the Avengers that was going to liberate America from the hands of the Iron President, and he wanted her on the team. Well, that's all for this fanfiction where Iron Man had been evil in the Iron Man movie of 2008. We could see how the whole trajectory of the movie changed because of Tony Stark's ideology changing. We can also assume that if this was the way Iron Man movie went, it would have changed the whole story arc of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. We can also see the relationship between Captain Marvel and Nick Fury, and how he'd called her instead of towards the formation of the superhero team, the Avengers, rather than Tony Stark. We were also able to see that Iron Man became the Iron President and took over the United States as a country while he forcefully policed the world, which, in his own twisted sense of justice, was the right thing to do. That's all for now. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this fanfiction? Did you like it? Do you think the death of a single person would have changed the ideology of Tony Stark since on the onset he was a Swede walking on this tiny line from being separated on good and evil? Do you think that this would have gone differently from how it had been portrayed? Well, share with me your thoughts on this and let me know which fanfiction are you interested to see next. Don't forget to like, share, and follow the channel if you're new, but until then, take care and stay safe.